Chosen one. You only have one day to hear what heaven is saying. This is not coincidence. This is not the algorithm. This is God Himself cutting through the noise of your life to reach you right now. Listen. Can you feel it? That trembling in your chest. That sudden stillness in your spirit. That's heaven leaning toward you. That's the Almighty speaking. Your name in frequencies only your soul can hear. Something unprecedented is happening in the spiritual realm. A narrow divine window has opened, and it has exactly 24 hours before it closes. Maybe forever. You've been asking for a sign, praying for confirmation, begging heaven to show you that you still matter, that your story isn't over, that God hasn't forgotten your name. This is it. Right now, you're standing on holy ground. What looks like ordinary Tuesday afternoon is actually your burning bush moment. The sacred is cutting through the mundane, and heaven is saying, I see you. Listen closely, because what you do with this next hour could echo for the next 10 years of your life. You didn't stumble here by accident. You were summoned, called, chosen for this exact moment. While millions scroll past, you stopped. While others sleep, you're awake. That's not random. That's divine selection. God is no longer whispering. He's roaring, and His voice is calling your name. If you can already feel it in your bones, that electric knowing, that spiritual recognition, type 777 the comments right now. That's not just interaction. That's agreement with heaven. That's you saying, yes, Lord, I'm listening. To everyone who supported this sacred mission through prayer, time, or giving thank you, you're not just helping a channel, you're helping heaven reach someone drowning in the dark. You're part of this divine rescue operation. But here's what you need to understand. This message will disappear soon. This moment is limited. Heaven has opened a portal over your life, and if you scroll away, it may be years before it opens again. This isn't fear. This is urgency, the kind that only the chosen ones recognize in their bones. You're not watching a video. You're stepping into a living prophecy. God is directing this spiritual movie, and you are the main character. He's been preparing for this scene. The waiting is over. The silence is broken. Your breakthrough isn't coming. It's here. So breathe deep, stay close, lock in, because what you're about to hear has the power to rewrite everything. The ordinary ends here. The sacred begins now. Your resurrection starts. In 3, 2, 1. Have you ever wondered if God went silent on you? If somewhere between your youth and now, He stopped listening to your prayers? If maybe, just maybe, you've been forgotten in the cosmic shuffle of 7 billion souls. Tonight, I'm here to shatter that lie. Chosen one, what's happening to you right now isn't random. This isn't chance. This isn't YouTube's algorithm playing games with your evening. God waited until this exact moment, this exact second, to confront your spirit with truth so powerful it could resurrect dreams you buried decades ago. You see, there's something heaven knows about you that you've forgotten about yourself. While you've been questioning if your life still matters, if your story is over, if it's too late for miracles, God has been orchestrating a divine interruption, and you're living it right now. Hebrews 3:15 cuts through every doubt. Today, if you hear His voice, do not harden your heart. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel more worthy. Today. And beloved, today is right now. But let's get real about where you are. You've spent years, maybe decades, wondering if God still sees you. You've whispered prayers into what felt like empty air. You've watched younger generations get blessed while you sat in the waiting room of hope, wondering if your ticket got lost. You've questioned if your dreams expired, if your purpose has a statute of limitations, if maybe God moved on to more exciting projects. The enemy has been whispering lies in your ear. You're too old. You missed your shot. Your time was 20 years ago. God's done with you. And somewhere in the middle of life's disappointments, betrayals, and unanswered prayers, you started believing it. That's exactly why heaven's alarm clock is ringing over your life right now. You can hit snooze. You can scroll past this message. You can dismiss what you're feeling in your chest as coincidence. But understand, this divine windows don't stay open forever. What God is offering you in this moment may not come around again in your lifetime. Listen to me carefully. The God who parted the Red Sea for Moses when he was 80 years old is the same God speaking to you right now. The God who called Abraham at 75 to father nations is the same God who hasn't forgotten your name. The God who used David's grandmother Ruth, a widow who felt forgotten, to anchor the bloodline of Christ. That's the God who orchestrated this divine appointment with your destiny. You think you're too late. Moses didn't even start his real ministry until he was 80. Grandma Moses didn't begin painting until she was 78 and became one of America's most celebrated artists. Colonel Sanders was 62 when he started KFC. Your story isn't over, it's just getting to the good part. But here's what breaks my heart. While God has been preparing something unprecedented for your life, you've been rehearsing your obituary. While heaven has been clearing the path for your breakthrough, you've been building monuments to your mistakes. While the Almighty has been saying, now is your time, you've been saying, it's too late. Stop it. Just stop. The same voice that called light from darkness is calling greatness from your disappointment. The same power that raised Lazarus from the dead is about to resurrect dreams you thought were buried forever. The same God who turned water into wine is about to turn your setbacks into your comeback. You want to know why you're here? Why this message found you? Because God is tired of watching you underestimate the power He placed inside you. He's done with you believing the lie that your best days are behind you. He's finished with you settling for survival when He designed you for revival. You've been asking God for a sign, begging Him to show you that you matter, pleading with heaven to confirm that your life still has purpose. Well, look around. Feel the electricity in your spirit right now. Notice how your heart is beating differently. That's not emotional manipulation, that's divine confirmation. This isn't just a message you happen to find. This is God's personal response to every prayer you thought He ignored. This is heaven's answer to every tear you cried in secret. This is the Almighty saying, I see you, I hear you, I haven't forgotten you, and I'm about to do something in your life that will leave your critics speechless. But here's the catch, and pay attention because this is crucial. You only have one day to respond. 24 hours. Why? Because God doesn't cast pearls before swine, and He doesn't give precious things to people who treat them casually. He's testing your hunger. He's measuring your desperation. He's watching to see if you want change more than you want comfort. The question isn't whether God can still use you. The question is whether you're still willing to be used. The question isn't whether miracles still happen. The question is whether you're ready to live one. Because what I'm about to reveal to you next will either ignite a fire in your spirit that burns away every limitation you've accepted, or it will expose why you've been stuck for so long. Are you ready to discover what God has been hiding in the silence? Chosen one, let me tell you something that's going to shake you to your core. Every heartbreak you've endured, every lonely night you've cried yourself to sleep, every tear that fell in silence when no one was watching, wasn't punishment. It was preparation. You've been living your life thinking God forgot about you, thinking maybe you did something wrong, maybe you weren't good enough, maybe you were too old, too broken, too far gone for heaven to use. But what if I told you that everything you call your worst moments were actually God's most strategic moves? Isaiah 43:2 says, "When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, not if you pass through." When God knew the waters were coming, he saw the floods before they hit, and he positioned himself right there in the middle of your storm. You want to know why your family turned their backs on you? Why friends walked away when you needed them most? Why doors slammed shut just when you thought breakthrough was coming? Because God was hiding you. Like a farmer hides precious seed in dark soil, people looking from the outside thought you were buried, but heaven knew better. You were planted. Think about this for a moment. Really think about it when you were sitting in that hospital room, feeling forgotten, when that phone never rang on your birthday, when your own children treated you like you were invisible, when retirement came and suddenly you felt like the world had no place for you anymore. What if those weren't accidents? What if those were appointments? Jeremiah 1-5 declares, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before your first heartbeat, God had a plan. Before your first breath, he saw your final chapter. And every chapter in between, including the ones that nearly broke you, were written by his hand." You think that betrayal caught God by surprise. You think that divorce blindsided heaven. You think when your spouse of 40 years looked you in the eye and said they didn't love you anymore, that somehow slipped past the Almighty. No, beloved, God saw it coming. And he allowed it because there was something in you that could only be birthed through breaking. Your isolation was not abandonment. It was incubation. Let that sink deep into your spirit. God hid you because you were too valuable to be exposed prematurely. Like a mother bird who pushes her babies out of the nest, not to hurt them, but to teach them they were born to fly. Every time someone rejected you, God was saying, "Not them. They can't go where I'm taking you." Every time a door closed, heaven was redirecting your steps toward something bigger. Every time you felt invisible, God was actually making you untouchable by human limitation. You know what hurts the most? When your own family looks at you like you're a burden, when grandchildren barely know your name, when holidays come and you're an afterthought, when the world treats you like your best years are behind you. But what if I told you that God allowed those people to reveal their true colors so you'd stop looking to them for what only he can give? The loneliness you felt wasn't because you weren't worth loving. It was because God was preparing you to receive a love so pure, so complete, that human affection would never satisfy you again. The silence wasn't because heaven stopped listening. It was because God was waiting for the noise to die down so you could finally hear his voice clearly. Right now, as I'm speaking these words, something is shifting in the spiritual realm. Can you feel it? That weight you've been carrying for years, it's lifting. That voice that's been telling you it's too late, you're too old, you've missed your chance, it's being silenced by the voice of truth. You are not a has-been. You are a becoming. You are not forgotten. You are being positioned. You are not too late. You are right on time for the greatest chapter of your life. God didn't bring you through cancer to kill you. He brought you through it to show you that you're indestructible. He didn't allow that financial collapse to destroy you. He used it to teach you that your security was never in a bank account anyway. He didn't permit that relationship to crumble to leave you empty. He cleared the space for something authentic. Every scar on your heart is proof that you survived what was meant to destroy you. Every wrinkle on your face is evidence that you've lived long enough to accumulate wisdom. Every gray hair is a crown of honor that says, "I endured, and I'm still here." The enemy wanted to bury you, but God planted you. And what's planted always grows. What's hidden in soil doesn't stay hidden forever. It breaks through, it rises, it blooms. You think you're in the twilight of your life. You're actually in the dawn of your purpose. You think your influence is over. Your greatest impact is just beginning. You think God is done with you? He's just getting started. If you believe that truth in your bones, if you can feel your spirit coming alive as these words wash over you, write in the comments right now, I was planted, not buried. Because what's about to happen next will prove that every tear you cried, every night you couldn't sleep, every moment you felt forgotten, was God preparing you for the moment when the whole world would see that you were never buried at all. You were planted, and your season to bloom has finally arrived. Chosen one, what I'm about to tell you will shake you to your core. You are standing in a 24-hour window that heaven has cracked open specifically for you. Not next week, not when you feel ready. Today. This is a holy appointment that was scheduled before time began. God looked down the corridors of eternity, saw this exact moment, and said, "That's when I'll reach for my child." And here you are. But here's what'll break your heart. This same window has opened before. How many times has the Holy Spirit whispered to your spirit, and you said, "Let me think about it"? How many times has heaven extended its hand, and you pulled back because the timing felt inconvenient? I need you to hear this clearly. The children of Israel stood at the edge of the promised land for 40 years. 40 years. Not because God changed his mind, but because they delayed their obedience. They said, "Tomorrow we'll trust. Tomorrow we'll move. Tomorrow we'll believe." And that tomorrow became 4 decades of wandering in circles. Don't you dare let that be your story. Think about Esther. When Mordecai told her she needed to risk everything to save her people, she could have said, "Give me time to prepare." Instead, she declared, "If I perish, I perish." And because she moved when heaven whispered, she saved an entire nation. Harriet Tubman heard God tell her to lead slaves to freedom. She didn't ask for a committee meeting. She didn't wait for perfect conditions. She said, "I'm going to hold steady on you, Lord, and you've got to see me through." And because she obeyed the divine whisper, 300 souls walked into freedom. But here's the part that'll cut you deep. While Esther was saving nations and Harriet was breaking chains, somewhere there was another chosen one who heard the same call and hesitated. We don't know their names because they chose comfort over calling. They chose delay over destiny. Which one are you? You've been asking God for a sign, begging him to show you he still sees you, crying out for confirmation that your life still matters. And right now, in this sacred moment, heaven is answering with thunderous clarity. This is your sign. This is your confirmation. This is God saying, "You are not forgotten." But signs without obedience become monuments to missed opportunities. Let me ask you something that might sting. How many divine appointments have you already missed? How many times has your spirit stirred, your heart raced, your soul recognized the voice of the Almighty, and you said, "Let me sleep on it"? Sleep is for those who don't understand the urgency of the hour. The enemy knows something you're just beginning to realize. When God opens a window of opportunity, it doesn't stay open forever. Daniel 12:4 says, "But you, Daniel, roll up and seal the words of the scroll until the time of the end." There are seasons when heaven speaks and seasons when heaven seals. You are in a speaking season, but it's about to shift. Every second you hesitate, you're gambling with destiny. Every moment you delay, you're testing the patience of divine timing. And beloved, divine timing doesn't wait for human convenience. Jesus said in John 9:4, "As long as it is day, we must do the works of him who sent me." Night is coming, when no one can work. The day is here, the light is shining, but night is coming. Your children need to see you walk in divine courage. Your grandchildren need to inherit breakthrough, not more broken cycles. The generation watching you is waiting to see if you'll be the one who finally says yes when heaven calls. This isn't about religion. This is about relationship. This isn't about perfection. This is about permission. God isn't asking if you're worthy. He's asking if you're willing. Right now, somewhere in this nation, another chosen one is watching this same message. They're feeling the same stirring, hearing the same call, facing the same choice. But only one of you will say yes. Only one will step through the door heaven is holding open. Moses stood at the burning bush for minutes, not months. Mary said yes to the angel in moments, not after consulting her friends. Paul didn't ask for time to consider on the Damascus road. The greatest moves of God happen in moments of immediate obedience. Here's what I know about you, chosen one. You've survived too much to quit now. You've endured too many storms to let this one pass you by. You've cried too many tears to waste this divine opportunity for breakthrough. Your yes today doesn't just shift your tomorrow. It rewrites the next 10 years of your life. It breaks generational cycles. It opens doors your grandchildren will walk through. It releases miracles that have been waiting in heaven's warehouse with your name on them. But your yes has an expiration date, and that date is midnight tonight. So, I'm asking you to stop running from the very thing God is running toward you with. Stop analyzing what requires faith. Stop postponing what demands immediate action. Right now, before you scroll away, before you let doubt creep back in, before the enemy whispers another delay, declare it out loud. Yes, Lord, I'm ready. Because on the other side of that yes is everything you've been praying for, waiting for, crying for. But it only comes to those who move when heaven moves. The window is open, the invitation is extended, the appointment is now. What will you choose? Chosen one, we need to talk about the war that's been raging inside your head for decades. The voices that whisper, you're too old, too broken, too late. The lies that masquerade as wisdom. The doubt that dresses up like humility. Stop right there. You've been tricked into thinking your struggle meant failure. But listen to me carefully. Your struggle is proof of your power. You think God puts weaklings through hell. You think the Almighty wastes his time refining fool's gold. Number. He only puts precious metals in the fire. Look at your hands right now. Those aren't the hands of someone who was meant to quit. Those are the hands of a survivor. Every wrinkle tells a story of endurance. Every scar is a testimony of strength. You've been through strokes that should have silenced you, surgeries that should have stopped you, heartbreak that should have destroyed you, loneliness that should have consumed you. But you're still here. You think that's coincidence? You think that's luck? That's divine protection. That's heaven saying, not this one. This one is too chosen to die in that storm. Jeremiah 29:11 declares, For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, to give you hope and a future. Notice it doesn't say plans to give you an easy life. It says plans to prosper you. And prosperity is born in the pressure. You've been asking yourself the wrong questions for years. Instead of, why did this happen to me? Start asking, what did this prepare me for? Instead of, when will this end? Ask, what is this building in me? Every senior citizen in America is being sold the lie that your best days are behind you, that your season of impact is over, that you should just fade quietly into retirement homes and rocking chairs. That's not just wrong, that's demonic. Moses was 80 when God called him to lead a nation. Abraham was 100 when he received his promise. You think God has an expiration date on purpose? You think heaven operates on human timelines? Here's what's really happening. The enemy has spent decades trying to convince you that survival was your ceiling when survival was actually your foundation. Every time you didn't quit, you laid another brick. Every time you got back up, you built another floor. And now you're standing on a skyscraper of strength, looking down at storms that once threatened to drown you. but doubt keeps whispering, "Are you sure you're qualified?" Let me ask you something uncomfortable. What if the very things that made you feel disqualified were exactly what God used to qualify you? What if your breakdown was actually your breakthrough in disguise? What if your midnight was always leading to your morning? The Bible says in Romans 8:28, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, not some things, all things." That divorce that nearly killed you, that diagnosis that terrified you, that betrayal that blindsided you, that financial collapse that humiliated you, God used it all. You've been studying for a test you already passed. You've been preparing for a final exam when God already wrote, "Well done," over your life. You've been rehearsing your audition when heaven already cast you for the lead role. Stop apologizing for still being alive when weaker people gave up. Stop feeling guilty for thriving when others are barely surviving. Stop shrinking your testimony to make comfortable people feel better about their compromise. You survived what should have killed you because you have an assignment that hasn't been completed yet. You're not here by accident. You're not taking up space. You're not past your prime. You're in your positioning phase. God didn't preserve you through cancer so you could play bingo. He didn't heal your heart so you could watch television all day. He didn't restore your mind so you could waste it on worry. He saved you because he's about to use you. And the doubt you feel, that's not wisdom. That's warfare. That's the enemy's last desperate attempt to keep you from stepping into what God prepared before you were born. Here's the truth that'll shake you awake. You've already proven you're unstoppable. The evidence is irrefutable. You're still breathing. You're still fighting. You're still believing. Despite the odds, despite the attacks, despite the avalanche of reasons to quit. You didn't just survive. You overcame. So why are you still asking if you're enough? Why are you still wondering if God can use you? The man who walked through the valley of the shadow of death and lived to tell about it doesn't need to prove he's anointed. The woman who buried her husband and raised her children alone doesn't need a degree in theology to know she's called. Your scars are your credentials. Your survival is your seminary degree. Your endurance is your ordination. If you've survived what should have killed you, if you've endured what would have destroyed others, if you're still standing when the storm said you'd fall, type "I passed" in the comments right now. Because you did. You passed every test. You survived every attack. You overcame every obstacle. Now the question isn't whether you're qualified. The question is whether you'll finally accept the assignment heaven has been waiting to give you. But here's what you need to understand about that assignment. Chosen one, stop everything you're doing right now. What's happening in this moment isn't just inspiration. This isn't just another message about hope and faith. What you're experiencing is a divine wire transfer between heaven and earth, and you are the account number God has been searching for. Listen to me carefully. Every word flowing through your speakers right now is carrying something deeper than sound waves. It's carrying frequency. Divine frequency. The same power that spoke light into darkness, that breathed life into dust, that raised the dead from their graves. That power is moving through this message and into your spirit right now. You feel it, don't you? That stirring in your chest, that electric recognition in your soul. That's not emotion, that's transaction. That's heaven making a deposit into the vault of your destiny. James 1:17 tells us, "Every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of the heavenly lights." And beloved, right now, those good and perfect gifts aren't just being promised to you, they're being downloaded into you. Clarity where there was confusion, strategy where there was chaos, peace where there was panic, answers where there were only questions. But here's what most people miss. They think God's blessings come wrapped in golden packages with bright ribbons. They expect trumpets and lightning bolts. But the most powerful transfers from heaven often come disguised as ordinary moments. A message on your phone, a video on your screen, a word that pierces through the noise of your everyday life. You weren't randomly scrolling when you found this. You were being led, guided, called by name into this sacred intersection where time meets eternity, where your need meets his supply, where your emptiness meets his fullness. This isn't entertainment, chosen one. This is a spiritual transaction. Heaven is downloading something into your soul right now that you've been crying out for in the secret places of your heart. That breakthrough you've been praying for. It's not coming someday. It's arriving now, wrapped in words, sealed with his voice, delivered through divine appointment. Think about Moses at the burning bush. One moment he was a shepherd wandering in the wilderness. The next moment, God was downloading the liberation of an entire nation into his spirit. Moses didn't go looking for that encounter. The encounter came looking for Moses, just like this moment came looking for you. But here's the critical part. Moses had to stop. He had to turn aside. He had to pay attention. Exodus 3:3 says, "So Moses thought, I will go over and see this strange sight, why the bush does not burn up." Moses could have kept walking. He could have dismissed it as just another desert mirage. But he didn't. He stopped. He listened. He received. The question burning in the atmosphere right now is this: what are you going to do with this burning bush moment? Will you receive what heaven is transferring, or will you scroll past the miracle meant for your life? You've been asking God for direction, haven't you? Begging him to show you the next step, pleading with heaven to break the silence. Well, the silence just broke. The direction just arrived. The strategy is downloading right now into the deep places of your spirit where faith meets reality. But transfers require cooperation. You can't receive what you won't acknowledge. You can't download what you don't have space for. That's why God had to empty some things out of your life first. Those closed doors, those lost relationships, those shattered plans, they weren't punishments. They were preparations. God was creating capacity in your spirit for what he's pouring in right now. What if I told you that this exact moment is the answer to prayers you prayed months ago? What if this message contains the missing piece to the puzzle you've been trying to solve? What if God orchestrated every detail of your day just to position you in this chair at this time, to receive what he's been waiting to give you? Some of you are thinking, this is too good to be true. But that's exactly the problem. You've been trained by disappointment to expect less from God than he wants to give. You've been conditioned by delay to doubt his timing. But God's timing isn't late, it's precise. And this precision moment has your name written all over it. The enemy wants you to believe this is just motivational speaking, just positive thinking, just religious rhetoric. But your spirit knows better. Your soul recognizes the frequency of heaven when it hears it. That's why you can't look away. That's why something inside you is saying, this is for me. Proverbs 25:25 says, "Like cold water to a weary soul is good news from a distant land." And chosen one, this good news isn't from a distant land. It's from your homeland. Heaven is your origin story, and God is reminding you who you really are and what you're really carrying. So let me ask you the question that's going to determine everything. What if this moment is the one you've been praying for all your life? What if this transfer of divine strategy, supernatural peace, and heavenly clarity is the turning point that reshapes your next decade? Because here's what's about to happen next. This download doesn't stop when the video ends. It keeps working. It keeps expanding. It keeps unlocking doors you didn't even know existed. But only if you receive it fully, completely, without reservation. The transfer is happening whether you feel it or not. The question is, are you positioned to receive everything heaven is pouring out? Chosen one, Let me tell you something that's gonna shake you to your core. Everything you've been through, every financial struggle, every sleepless night counting pennies, every time you watched others prosper while you scraped by, it wasn't your destiny. It was your preparation. You think God forgot about your bank account? You think He's been silent about your retirement fears? About watching your friends take vacations you can't afford? About choosing between medicine and groceries? He's been watching, He's been recording, and now He's about to settle the score. Job 42:10 says something that'll stop you dead in your tracks. The Lord restored his fortunes and gave him twice as much as he had before. Twice as much, not just replacement, not just restoration, multiplication. Listen to me carefully. Your dry season wasn't your destiny. You were chosen to overflow. But let's get real for a hot minute. How many years have you been running on empty? How many decades have you been giving, serving, tithing, believing, while watching younger people with half your character get handed opportunities you've been praying for? How many times have you whispered to God in the dark, "When is it gonna be my turn?" That whisper just got answered, because abundance isn't just about money, beloved. It's about the restoration of everything the locust years devoured. Your health that stress stole, your joy that disappointment buried, your dignity that poverty tried to strip away. God is about to crown your golden years with His goodness. Psalm 65:11 declares, "You crown the year with your goodness, and your paths drip with abundance, not trickle, not barely survive. Drip. You know what that means? It means overflow. It means more than enough. It means you stop checking your bank balance with anxiety and start checking it with amazement. But here's what's gonna blow your mind. This abundance has been building up in heaven's vault with your name on it. Every tear you cried over unpaid bills, every sacrifice you made for your family, every time you gave, when you had nothing left to give, God has been calculating interest on your faithfulness, and the payment is due now. Galatians 6:9 promises, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." At the proper time. And chosen one, this is your proper time. You've been faithful in the famine. Now God's about to trust you with the feast. But let me ask you something that might hurt. Are you ready for double? Because that's what's coming. Double for your trouble, double for your faithfulness, double for every year you felt forgotten. Can your mind even handle the thought that your golden years could be your greatest years, that your retirement could be your advancement, that your sunset season could be your sunrise moment? Because while the world tells seniors to shrink, to settle, to accept less, God is saying the opposite. He's saying your best wine has been saved for last. Think about this. Abraham didn't become the father of nations until he was 100. Moses didn't lead the Exodus until he was 80. Caleb at 85 said, "Give me this mountain." Your age isn't your limitation, it's your qualification. The enemy wanted you to believe your productive years were over, that abundance was for the young, that you missed your window. But God operates on eternal time, not earthly calendars. And right now, He's opening floodgates that have been sealed for decades. Your social security check is about to feel like pocket change compared to what heaven is releasing. Your savings account is about to look like a down payment on the real blessing. Your fixed income is about to become your overflow income. But this abundance comes with instructions. It's not just for hoarding, it's for impact. God is making you wealthy in your wisdom years because He knows you'll use it right. You won't waste it on foolishness. You'll steward it with the wisdom only experience can teach. You're about to become the answer to someone else's prayer. the scholarship for that struggling student, the down payment help for that young couple, the medical bill miracle for that family in crisis. God is about to make you a distributor of His abundance, not just a recipient. And here's the promise that'll make you weep. You will never be in need again. Never. That season of lack, of worry, of choosing between necessities, it's over. Isaiah 46:4 says, "Even to your old age and grey hairs I am He. I am He who will sustain you." Sustain doesn't mean barely survive. It means abundantly supply. Your grey hairs aren't a sign of decline. They're a crown of honor. And God is about to match that crown with provision that reflects your worth. So, let me ask you one final question that could change everything. If God opened the windows of heaven over your life today, would you have the faith to catch what He's pouring? Would you have the courage to believe that your greatest chapter is still being written? Because your abundance isn't just coming. It's here, it's knocking, it's waiting for your yes. If you're ready to receive double for your trouble, if you're ready to overflow instead of just survive, comment overflow right now. Don't just watch this happen. Agree with heaven that your dry season is done. But time is ticking. Chosen one, this window of abundance won't stay open forever. Chosen one, what you're experiencing right now isn't the end of this message. It's the beginning of its manifestation. In the coming hours, God will begin to confirm what your spirit already knows. This isn't just encouragement wrapped in spiritual language. This is divine strategy. This is a heavenly word embedded with spiritual DNA. And when God speaks, beloved, He also confirms. But the confirmation may not come in ways you expect. It might not be loud or dramatic. In fact, it may be so subtle that only a spiritually alert heart will recognize it. A conversation that stops you in your tracks. A dream so vivid it wakes you at 3 a.m. A stranger who speaks the exact words you just heard. A text message that arrives at the precise moment you need it most. Isaiah 55:11 reminds us, "So is my word that goes out from my mouth. It will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire and achieve the purpose for which I sent it." What God has spoken over your life tonight will not be wasted. It will be confirmed. And it's already in motion. Listen to me carefully. I'm about to tell you something that will shift how you see the next 24 hours of your life. Denzel Washington tells the story of a woman in a beauty salon who prophesied his purpose before he had any clue what his life would become. She looked at this young man and said, "Boy, you're going to travel the world and preach to millions." At the time, he thought she was crazy. Years later, as he stood on stages speaking to millions, he realized that wasn't coincidence. That was confirmation sent by God to anchor his path. That same supernatural orchestration is happening in your life right now. But here's what most people miss. They dismiss divine confirmation as coincidence because they're not spiritually awake when it arrives. They're too busy, too distracted, too skeptical to catch God's whisper before it fades into the noise of their day. Don't make that mistake. God's confirmation isn't delayed. It's already in motion. Behind the scenes, heaven is orchestrating moments that will leave you in absolute awe. You won't have to force them. They will come to you. John 10:27 says, "My sheep hear my voice. I know them, and they follow me." Chosen one, you will recognize His voice when the signs appear. That email that shows up at exactly the right time. That unexpected opportunity that feels hand-delivered by angels. That person who calls you just as you were about to give up. Stay sensitive. Don't brush it off. Don't call it luck. Call it what it is, divine orchestration. But let me ask you something that's going to shake you to your core. What if you've been receiving confirmations all along, but you've been too spiritually numb to recognize them? What if God has been speaking, but you've been calling His voice coincidence? What if the very thing you've been praying for has been knocking at your door, but you've been too afraid to answer? Think about that for a moment. How many divine appointments have you walked past because they didn't look like what you expected? How many burning bush moments have you dismissed because they happened on ordinary Tuesday afternoons? How many times has God tried to confirm His word, but you were too busy analyzing instead of receiving? This is why Jesus said in Matthew 13:15, "For this people's heart has become calloused. They hardly hear with their ears, and they have closed their eyes. But not you, not tonight. Your spiritual ears are opening. Your heart is becoming tender again. The calluses that cynicism built are cracking under the weight of God's love. You're about to enter a season where divine confirmation becomes so obvious, so undeniable, that even your doubt will have to bow its knee to the evidence. Here's what I need you to understand about the next 24 hours. God isn't just going to confirm this word to comfort you. He's going to confirm it to commission you. Because once you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that heaven is speaking directly to your life, everything changes. Your prayers become bolder, your steps become surer, your voice becomes clearer. You stop asking, "What if?" and start declaring, "Watch this." That's the power of divine confirmation. It doesn't just validate what God said, it activates what God planted. But confirmation requires participation. You can't receive what you're not expecting. You can't catch what you're not watching for. You can't hear what you're not listening to. So I'm asking you to do something radical for the next 24 hours. Stay awake in the spirit, not physically, but spiritually. Pay attention to the details. Notice the coincidences. Feel the pull. Follow the breadcrumbs. Because God's whisper is about to be louder than your fear. Those confirmations you're about to receive aren't just for you to feel good. They're to fuel your confidence for what comes next. This is not the time to second-guess yourself. This is the time to move with conviction. As you begin to see the signs, let them anchor your spirit. You're not imagining it. You're not being dramatic. You are in alignment, and God is confirming it one divine nudge at a time. The question isn't whether confirmation is coming. The question is whether you'll have the spiritual sensitivity to receive it when it arrives. So what are you going to do with the next 24 hours of your life? Chosen one, we need to talk about the chains you're still carrying, the invisible weight that's been dragging behind you like an anchor in deep water. You've been trying to move forward while your heart is still handcuffed to yesterday. And heaven is saying enough. Look at me, right now, in this sacred moment. God didn't bring you this far to let you drown in the undertow of what was. But you've been driving through life staring at the rearview mirror, wondering why you keep crashing into the same walls, hitting the same dead ends, circling the same mountains of pain. You can't reach your destiny looking backwards, period. That relationship that ended in betrayal. You're still carrying conversations that should have been buried years ago. That failure that crushed your spirit. You're still wearing it like a scarlet letter, punishing yourself for being human. Those regrets that whisper your name in the dark. They've become your prison guards, and you've been serving a sentence for crimes forgiven long ago. But God is standing at your cell door tonight with the keys of freedom in His hands, saying, "It's time to go." Listen to the Apostle Paul in Philippians 3:13. Forgetting what is behind and straining toward what is ahead. This isn't a suggestion, beloved. This is a spiritual command from someone who knew persecution, shipwreck, and betrayal. Paul understood that your past is not your prison unless you choose to make it one. Right now, I want you to picture yourself driving down a highway. Every time you look in that rear-view mirror, you swerve. Every glance backward nearly causes a collision. The road ahead is clear, smooth, wide open, but you're obsessed with what's shrinking behind you instead of embracing what's expanding before you. That's what clinging to the past does. It makes you a dangerous driver in your own life. You want to know what's breaking my heart right now? You're 65 years old, 70 years old, 75 years old, and you're still apologizing for decisions you made at 30. You're still punishing yourself for words you spoke in anger 40 years ago. You're still carrying guilt that Jesus Christ already carried to the cross 2,000 years ago. When are you going to forgive yourself? When are you going to stop being your own worst enemy? When are you going to realize that the God of second chances has already written pardon across every mistake you've ever made? Here's what's happening in the spirit realm right now. God is preparing to release something massive into your life, but his hands are full, and yours are too. He can't give you what's coming until you drop what you've been carrying. You're trying to receive tomorrow's blessing with yesterday's baggage weighing down your arms. Let me shock you with truth. What you lost was protection. That job that disappeared, it was blocking your promotion. That person who walked away, they were preventing your purpose. That door that slammed shut, it was redirecting you toward destiny. God wasn't punishing you, he was positioning you. But you've been mourning what was actually mercy. You've been grieving what was actually grace. You've been angry about what was actually answered prayer in disguise. Every loss made room for increase. Every ending created space for beginning. Every goodbye was God saying, I have something better. What you let go makes room for what's coming. Right now, there's a senior citizen listening to my voice who's still bitter about a divorce that happened in 1987. There's a grandmother still angry about being passed over for a promotion in 1995. There's a grandfather still rehearsing words he should have said to his father before he passed away. Stop it. Just stop it. Your future is being held hostage by your past, and heaven is saying, pay the ransom with forgiveness. Buy your freedom with release. The enemy wants you to die clutching the very things that are killing you. He wants you to take your bitterness to the grave. He wants your tombstone to read, here lies someone who never let go. But God wants you to live free before you die. He wants your remaining years to be your richest years. He wants your sunset season to be your breakthrough season. Isaiah 43:18-19 declares, forget the former things, do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? Do you perceive it? Can you feel it stirring? That new thing isn't waiting for you to feel worthy. It's waiting for you to make room. I need you to do something radical right now. I need you to say these words out loud, wherever you are. I release what no longer serves my future. Say it again, louder. I release what no longer serves my future. That hurt from 30 years ago, released. That regret from your 20s, released. That person who never apologized, released. That dream that died, released to make room for the dream that's being born. You're not dishonoring your pain by releasing it. You're honoring your future by creating space for it. The most powerful people on earth aren't those who never fell. They're those who learned to let go of where they landed and focus on where they're going. Your story isn't ending, chosen one. It's just beginning a new chapter. But you can't write tomorrow's victory with yesterday's pen. So drop it, all of it. Let it fall from your hands like chains falling from a prisoner set free. Because what God has waiting for you in your next season will make you understand why everything else had to go. Are you ready to drive toward destiny with your eyes on the road ahead? Conclusion. Chosen one. If you've stayed with me through this entire journey, you've just experienced something far more than a message. You've walked through a divine encounter. You've been in the presence of the Almighty, and He has been speaking directly to your soul. Let me remind you of what heaven has declared over your life today. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not too late, too old, or too broken. God has been preparing you in the wilderness for your greatest chapter yet. Every tear you've cried has been collected. Every prayer you've whispered has been heard. Every disappointment has been working together for your good. The narrow window that opened for you today isn't closing in despair. It's sealing in promise. What God has spoken over you will come to pass, not because you're perfect, but because He is faithful. You are not walking this path alone. Right now, thousands of chosen ones around the world are hearing these same words, feeling this same stirring, receiving this same divine activation. We are connected by more than circumstance. We are bound together by calling, by purpose, by the very breath of God. There is a community here that understands your journey. We've walked through the valley of the shadow of death and emerged with testimonies. We've been broken and made whole. We've been forgotten by man, but remembered by God. So I ask you this final question. If God has been speaking to you through every word of this message, if your spirit has been trembling with recognition, if tears have been streaming down your face because you finally feel seen, what are you going to do about it? Will you let this moment fade into just another video you watched? Or will you step into the covenant God is offering you right here, right now? Let me pray over you with the authority that heaven has given me. Father God, Almighty Creator, I lift up every precious soul who has heard your voice today. Lord, they didn't stumble upon this message by accident. You orchestrated this divine appointment. You moved heaven and earth to get your words to their ears and your love to their hearts. Right now, I speak blessing over their lives. I speak breakthrough over their circumstances. I speak healing over their wounds. I speak restoration over their losses. I speak promotion over their setbacks. God, place your mighty hand upon their shoulders right now. Let them feel your presence like a warm embrace. Let them know that their crying is over, their waiting is ending, and their breakthrough is beginning. Break every chain of depression, Lord. Shatter every stronghold of fear. Destroy every lie of unworthiness. Replace their mourning with joy, their ashes with beauty, their spirit of heaviness with a garment of praise. Open doors that no man can shut. Provide resources they never expected. Connect them with the right people at the right time. Give them dreams and visions of their future. Fill their remaining years with purpose, passion, and power. And Father, let them sleep tonight, knowing they are loved beyond measure, chosen beyond understanding, and blessed beyond imagination. In Jesus' mighty name, Amen. Beloved, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me what God spoke to your heart today. Share your prayer requests. Let this community surround you with love and intercession. Type I. Receive it if you're ready to walk in everything God has prepared for you. And please, share this message with someone who needs to hear it. Your obedience to share could be the very thing that saves someone's life, restores someone's hope, or ignites someone's purpose. We're all connected in this divine web of love and calling. If this word has blessed you, if it's given you hope when you had none left, would you consider subscribing to this channel? When you hit that subscribe button, you're not just supporting a ministry, you're becoming part of a movement. You're joining a family of chosen ones who are committed to encouraging each other until we all reach the finish line. Thank you for trusting me with your time, your heart, and your attention. Thank you for staying until the very end. That alone tells me you're serious about your relationship with God and your commitment to your calling. Remember, chosen one, what's ahead is greater, always has been, always will be. Until we meet again, walk boldly, love deeply, and shine without apology. God bless you, and God keep you. You are loved, you are chosen, you are never alone.